Good evening. I'm Isidoro Nieto, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees.
Is it on?
Is it on? Yeah. The regular board meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Note that this meeting has been posted online for 72 hours. There you go. Thank you for. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time now is 5:35. And I will call this meeting to order. I will begin the roll call. Mrs. Jackie Sustaita.
Present.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Eddie Serna.
Present.
Mr. Ben Castillo.
Present.
And Mr. Mark De Los Santos.
Present.
Coach Cuellar will be here a few minutes later. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum available for this board meeting. Number 3, invocation, Dr. Rivera.
Elias Trevino.
Would you be so kind to bow your heads? And gentlemen, if you're wearing a hat, if you just be removing in reverence to the Lord, let us pray. Lord of all creation, our Lord Jesus Christ, how great and mighty you are. You are awesome in all of your ways. You are good and merciful towards us. Thank you for the gift of life, health, family, friends, strength, and ability to work, to provide for our families. We thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon WISD and those to come. Father, we will never tire nor waver to ask you to continue to bless and grant greater wisdom to our superintendent, Dr. Richard Rivera, and our amazing board. Thank you for their leadership and humility. Lord, may your will be done in our board meetings. Help us to always maintain integrity in what you have left in our care. Help us always to be focused on the betterment of boys and girls in Weslaco ISD. As our students begin the testing season, we pray clarity of mind, peace in their hearts, and the knowledge that they have obtained throughout the year flood back into their hearts and minds as they challenge the tests. We know they will do amazingly well. Bless our administrators, staff, and teachers with wisdom, integrity, patience, and the physical and mental strength to continue and finish this year strong. Above all, bless our students with divine protection, physical and mental health, and providence. There is gratitude in our hearts for all that you have done, are doing, and will do in the days to come. May all of our hearts reflect the spirit of forgiveness as you have forgiven us. We ask you all this in your precious, glorious, and mighty name of Jesus. And everyone says, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Pledge of Allegiance, Dr. Rivera.
Mr. Butterman.
Good evening. Would everyone please stand, place their right hand over their heart, and turn towards the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd ask everyone to remain standing, right hand over their heart, and turn towards the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Butterman. We go to item number 5, awards and recognitions.
Mr. Carlos Robledo.
Dr. Rivera.
Many awards tonight.
Yes, lots of awards. We have a full house. We're glad everybody's here tonight because there's a lot to celebrate. Dr. Rivera, Mr. Board President, members of the board, tonight a lot to celebrate here in the month of March as we move on towards the end of the school year. Let's bring in our first group of students to recognize them here tonight. How about a big hand for our JROTC cadets as they enter the room. All right, as they get lined up, I'll go ahead and get started. We have a lot to talk about with this group here. Tonight, we want to congratulate a special group of students, the Weslaco High School JROTC Raider Challenge Cadets. Representing the Panthers, these cadets competed and won first-place trophies at several challenges throughout the year. Raider teams competed in archery, marksmanship, and robotics in tournaments involving up to 20 schools from across the Rio Grande Valley. The Raider team also represented Weslaco High School at the National Raider Challenge held in Fort Knox, Kentucky. We are proud to announce that Cadet Major Francisco Silva was selected as Cadet of the Month for the 5th Brigade for his outstanding academic accomplishments and leadership skills. The 5th Brigade is the largest ROTC brigade in the U.S. Army, with over 352 high schools from across Texas to Utah. Let's give them a round of applause. And if their parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents? Parents are here? All right, let's take a photo. All right, once again, congratulations, students.
Congratulations. Good job.
All right, up next, we'd like to congratulate some of our students from our Fine Arts Department. How about we give them a round of applause as they walk into the room? I believe they're backed up with traffic right now, so we'll give them a little bit of time. I know they're out there. They were lined up.
What group is this?
We're going to be recognizing the mariachis, our mariachi groups from Weslaco East and from Weslaco High School.
Okay.
All right, let's give them a round of applause. Well, tonight we want to congratulate our high school mariachi groups, our programs, who recently returned from state competition in Seguin. Our mariachi groups both received straight ones in area to join 98 schools that advanced to state competition. We are proud to announce here with us right now, we have Mariachi Pantera from Weslaco High School. Our students performed before a panel of 3 judges who critiqued them on music, technique, and showmanship. Mariachi Pantera received straight ones at state. This is the 2nd year they accomplished this feat. Only 20 schools from 1A to 6A earned this distinction. Let's give them a round of applause. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents? Parents?
They took it real quick. Congratulations.
Once again, congratulations to Mariachi Pantera. Let's give them a round of applause.
This is Ortiz, right? Ortiz. This is Ortiz, right?
Want to go up one level?
One level.
Up next, we want to congratulate our mariachi group from Weslaco East High School, Mariachi Tecuani. Mariachi Tecuani also recently returned from Seguin, where they received a Division I rating at state competition, making history, bringing their first State UIL Division I rating home. Also making history for Tecuani is member Giada Ortiz, who received an Outstanding Performer Medal as vocalist. Let's give her a round of applause. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents. Once again, congratulations, Mariachi Tecuani. All right, up next, we have some of our athletes who are coming into the room. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. This evening, we want to congratulate the Weslaco High School boys and girls basketball teams. We'll start off with the boys team first, obviously. Both these teams brought home the 32-6A basketball championship titles. Presenting the Weslaco High School boys championship team, several members won postseason distinctions. We'd also like to recognize their coaches, Mike Yanes, Nate Salazar, Isaac Camacho, Roman Marquez, and Julius Marquez, and the 32-6A Coach of the Year, Gabriel Valdez. Once again, congratulations on winning the district championship. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents. One more thing. Once again, congratulations.
All right. Congratulations.
All right, more applause here because we have the 32-6A girls champion. How about we give them a round of applause as they sit up here? So we want to congratulate the 32-6A girls basketball champions. The Lady Panthers claimed not only the district championship, but a by-district championship as well, and were area finalists. Several Lady Panthers were also named All-State Academic Team. We congratulate Victoria Trevino, Caitlin Solis, and Isabel Magallanes. How about a round of applause? We'd also like to recognize assistant coaches David Medina, and we also have here the 32-6A Coach of the Year, Griselda Fino. Let's give her a round of applause. Also want to recognize Coach Haley is here. Coach Haley. I also want to give her a round of applause, and also want to recognize the parents. Thank you, parents. All right. Okay.
Hey, Carlos, before we continue,
Yes.
just a couple of comments on behalf of the board. Of course, special thank you to all the coaches and sponsors that have done an outstanding job with our teams. Of course, Mariachi Pantera and the Mariachis from East did very well this year, first time in history. Congratulations to all of them. And of course, to the parents, too. A special thank you. Mrs. Jackie, any comments? I know you're...
But wait, there's more.
I know, but there's going
We
to
have
be...
another team.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll comment on that one in a few
Okay.
minutes.
Sorry.
Yes, I just want to say, you know, when I was in high school, I was part of the basketball team, the girls. I was part of the mariachi, and we never got to come to the boardroom and come to state. We got to go to states or district champs. So congratulations. It's a big deal. So it's awesome, and we're super proud of you guys and the girls. So way to go.
Dr. Jaime?
Congratulations, same thing. Great job.
Mr. Ben Castillo?
Yes, congratulations to all. Thank you guys for making your district proud and keep working hard.
Mr. Coach Serna?
Same thing. Congratulations. A lot of hard work goes into that, and really appreciate all the effort of the coaches and the parents.
Mr. Los Santos?
Same thing. Congratulations to everyone, especially the parents and the students and the coaches. There's a lot of self-sacrifice there, time, money, distance, and things like that. So it's just amazing to see all these different teams and all these different programs performing at such a high level. So congratulations to everybody.
Okay, Carlos, now you can take over, and we'll come back to make some more comments.
Thank you to K-West who airs these games on the YouTube. It's awesome because
Good
if we
point.
can't be there, we're watching online. So thank you for that also.
Good point, Mrs. Sustenta. Okay, Carlos.
All right, let's continue on. We have some more athletes to congratulate. How about a big hand for the Weslaco ISD boys basketball team? All right, so congratulations to the Weslaco ISD High School boys District 32-5A district champions. The Wildcats had a remarkable season. They went undefeated in district. They finished the season with an 18-0 perfect district record. Overall, they had an impressive record as well with a 29-5 record, and several Wildcats also won individual postseason distinctions. We congratulate them for that. Also, we want to recognize the assistant coaches first: Abel Angulo, Andrew Rangel, Anthony Contreras, Phil Sid, and we also want to recognize the 32-5A Coach of the Year, head coach Zeke Rodriguez. Now, parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized, parents?
All right, congratulations.
Once again, congratulations. All right, up next, we want to recognize another group here. How about a big hand for these athletes as they walk into the room? Tonight, we want to recognize another group of athletes. These ladies are from Weslaco High School. We congratulate them because they are the 16 6A District Girls Wrestling Champions. The team went on to have great success at regionals with two Lady Panthers qualifying for state qualifier Yasmin Cruz and state qualifier Melanie Avila. Let's give them a round of applause. We also want to recognize their coaches who are in the back. Head coach, we have Moises Chavez. They're the ones in the colorful jackets. And we'd also like to recognize parents. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents. Once again, congratulations, ladies and coaches.
Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Tonight, we want to celebrate Tonight, we want to celebrate our campuses that have successfully increased attendance during the fourth 6 weeks of school, meeting or surpassing our average daily attendance. Goals benefits our district, but most importantly, it benefits our students. Elementary schools meeting the district's ADA standard for the fourth 6 weeks. We'll start off with a 97.86 ADA. Kleckler-Held Elementary. Congratulations. Up next, also from the elementary, being recognized for 96.30 ADA, Margot Elementary. And now for our secondary schools, meeting the ADA standard with a 95.19, Central Middle School. We'd also like to recognize another school meeting the ADA with a ADA of 97.64, South Palm Gardens High School. Congratulations, Ms. Wells. All right. Once again, thank you to our principals and congratulations. Up next, we would like to recognize a special group of counselors. Counselors? I know some counselors here to be recognized. If you could please stand up. Would you like to come to the front, please? All right. So tonight we are recognizing a special group of staff members. The Texas School Counselors Association presented 15 of our campuses with a 2024-2025 CREST Award for providing excellent counseling programs. CREST, which stands for Counselors Reinforcing Excellence for Students in Texas, recognizes programs which have demonstrated a successful implementation for the Texas model devised by the Texas Education Agency. We congratulate our elementary, middle, and high school counselors for bringing this state-level recognition to Weslaco ISD. Congratulations. Mr. Trevino will do the next presentation. Oh. Your team?
Is this one for KWIS? Oh, KWIS. Okay.
Thank you. Carlos, now you know how the rest of them feel when they're up there by themselves. So tonight we congratulate one of our departments that has consistently brought you the sights and sounds of Weslaco ISD. This group of hardworking individuals are behind the scenes capturing our news and promoting our district. This time, they will put their cameras down and join us here on the stage. The K-West production crew recently attended the 2025 Texas Schools Public Relations Association, winning several gold certificates, 3 gold medals, and a crystal commendation in the video portfolio category for their coverage of the 2024 Lady Panthers softball team. The video portfolio included video features of key players, game recaps from Austin, social media coverage, school district and city recognitions, and live coverage of the celebration parade during the team state championship run. Photographer Vinny Berry and reporter Mike Gonzalez covered the game from Austin. Photographers Don Ramirez, Val Zamora, and chief photographer Mike Palacios captured events and created video features that were in the portfolio. Graphic artists Nate Pena and Samantha Hawley featured the team on social media. K-West is under the direction of Carlos Robledo. Let's give them a big round of applause.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Proclamations.
Any more? Is it-
No more awards for right now.
Oh, that's it? All right. Okay, before we continue, of course, we had quite a number of awards. And any comments at this time, real quick, Mrs. Sustaita, on the last ones were East Basketball Team, WHS Girls Wrestling Team, the ADA, our counselors, and K-West.
Oh, so many groups, but just the same thing as before. Amazing. Congratulations to everybody. And thank you, K West. Like I mentioned, I was one of the ones at home watching these basketball games and all these events online. So great job for sharing everything that we're doing online with all the kids. And especially also congratulations to the counselors. Y'all are doing amazing. So just keep up the good work.
Thank you. Dr. Jaime?
Same, great job. You know, there was WA3 Coach of the Years. I think we celebrated tonight. So great job to all 3 and the rest of the groups, counselors, principals, K-West team. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the great work you all do. Yep.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes, just congratulations to all groups who got recognized today. Thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for all the positive things that you bring to Weslaco ISD, and whatever we can do to support you, let us know.
Mr. Serna?
Well, same thing. Congratulations to all counselors. Great to see all of you here and for all the hard work y'all do. And being around coaching for many years, I saw K-West work, firsthand, and they've always been, like our book says, second to none. They always promote Weslaco ISD, and very appreciative of you guys. Thank you.
Mr. Los Santos?
Yes, I'm going to echo the same that everybody else has been saying. Thank you to all the parents, the students, the staff, for all their work that they do, all their input, all their sacrifice. And it just goes to show, like as far as our school district, our little marketing point here is just what we offer. Not only are we dominant on academics, but we're also dominant on the field, and that's any field that we're talking about, and also fine arts as well. So we just hope to continue to be supportive as a board and support each program, regardless of where it's all around the schools, whether it's elementary, middle school, and high school. So great job to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, Mr. Robledo, thank you for promoting all our sports and all our academics, because there's a lot of times, a lot of parents that cannot attend or cannot afford to attend. So they have the opportunity to watch it at home. But also, like Coach Serna mentioned, all those coaches and all those sponsors have done tremendously. And of course, that places Weslaco second to none here in the Valley. Right, Dr. Rivera? And so as we continue to progress, then other districts will look to Weslaco as, what is it that they're doing, and they're doing it so well. So thank you very much. Carlos, continue.
Up next, we have proclamations. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with our proclamation. And then we'll have a special recognition after our proclamations, okay? So Weslaco ISD, Independent School District, has a long-standing tradition of excellence and strives to bring together all resources to provide our students and staff with the best opportunities for success. To that end, Weslaco ISD acknowledges and celebrates initiatives, departments, and organizations that join in our efforts to develop, expand, and enrich our learning environment for students, parents, and employees. Therefore, Isidoro Nieto, President of the WISD District Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim March 2025 as Child of the Military Month. We also proclaim National Library Week, April 6th through the 12th, Gifted and Talented Awareness Week, April 7th through the 11th, Public Schools Volunteer Week, April 21st through the 25th, After School Professionals Appreciation Week, April 21st through the 25th, Secretary's Day, also known as Administrative Professionals Day, April 23rd. In Weslaco ISD, and urge all citizens to recognize with appreciation our district's commitment to education and helping our children achieve their highest potential. Signed, Isidoro Nieto, President of WISD Board of Trustees. How about a round of applause for all those initiatives? So once again, for Child of the Military Month, it is for April, not for March. I apologize for that.
Okay. I think we might have inadvertently left two out here on the list, diagnosticians and social workers.
Right, so I'm going to say that one next. That's going to be a special recognition. Perfect. So we do have some educational diagnosticians here and some social workers here. Can they please stand and be recognized as I read this special recognition for you? Tonight, we acknowledge several special guests that have joined us here today from the special education and the counseling departments. We celebrate our educational diagnosticians and social workers during this month and throughout the year. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. How about a round of applause?
Hey, Mindy, or Dr. Rivera, can we bring them up here so they can take a picture
Yes.
with, just like we, all groups?
Step up to the front so we can take a picture, please.
This way. All right, they're ready.
All right.
Is that it, Carlos? Was that the last one?
That's it.
All right. Moving right along, number 7, public comments. Dr. Rivera.
I think you have the list.
We have 3.
3, okay? We have, according to this, we have 4. 4? Okay. All right. So when I call your name out, will you please stand and I'll read what I have to read to all of you. Instead of doing it individually, I'm going to do it as a... If you want to speak, be patient. If not, okay. With the following one, the public speakers, please stand. Matt Bustos, Mrs. Diana Garza, Mr. Valdez. Oh, Mrs. Valdez, Julie, okay? And Mr. Edward Mejia.
Edward, not Edward.
That's what I said, Edward. That's what it says here. I'm going to remind you again, Mr. Mejia, Be patient, be calm, and we won't have any problems with public comments or any other future. Okay? Thank you. All right, I'm going to read all these to each one of you, or all four of you, and then when you come up, you'll state your name, your address, and then we'll allow you the 3 minutes that we always allow. Even though you already know them, it's just part of the procedures. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meeting Act, the Board of Trustees may not deliberate on any comments made by a member of the public on a subject that is not included in the agenda posted with notice of this meeting. As per the Texas Attorney General, the scope of the board discussion for a subject not part of the meeting agenda is limited only a proposal by a board member to place a subject on a future board agenda. Specific factual information of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless recognized by the presiding officer. No public comment presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. Any disruptive behavior by any speaker may result in the speaker's removal from participation in the meeting. Please be mindful of using names or any other information, as there is no immunity from defamatory comments while participating in public comments. You may be seated. Let me call the first person up, which will be Mr. Matt Bustos. Mr. Bustos, please state your name and your address.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Matt Bustos. My address is 26354 Hackney Lane, and that is in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, thank you. And our board secretary will let you know when you have 1 minute left of your 3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
First off, let me thank you, Dr. Rivera, Mr. Nieto, President Nieto, members of the board. Everything that you do is incredibly thankless, so I want to thank you on behalf as a Texan and a taxpayer. I'm the proud father of a fifth grader up in Comala ISD. I'm a Texas native and a United States Army veteran. I have been working with Mr. Daniel Reyna for the past year regarding our school safety system, our safety platform. We have replaced the system in Uvalde. Our system was in place in Alpharetta, Georgia on the most recent unfortunate event. I come to you this evening to simply initiate a little sense of urgency behind the program. It is very near and dear to me, Mr. Reyna as well. We are unfortunately approaching a time frame that would inhibit us on getting you moved forward, installed, and have your teachers, safety, and staff trained for the next school year. This has been a previous discussion, I believe, in an open forum as well as behind closed doors. Again, I come to you, made the quick trip down just to visit with you to let you know that we're booking up Lake Travis ISD, Dripping Springs ISD, Fredericksburg, Bernie, Floresville, Lavernia are all in there, and we've got a lot of work, good work to do. So we have a good problem on our hands. This is, again, is very dear to Mr. Reyna and myself to get your kiddos and your staff safe for the next school year. I am available for questions after the meeting, but just wanted to, again, say thank you for everything you do for the kiddos, the citizens, and your staff here at Weslaco ISD.
Thank you, Mr. Bustos.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Mrs. Diana Garza. Please state your name and address, Mrs. Garza.
Diana Garza, 1011 East 10th Street, Mercedes.
And you'll have 3 minutes, just like every other presenter. Dr. Jaime will let you know when you have 1 minute left.
Whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Dr. Rivera, school board trustees, parents, students, staff. Today I stand before you to shed light on Agenda 12B4, Melva Segura versus Weslaco ISD. In my hand here, I have a copy of the infamous, long, extensive Weaver forensic audit report that you all agreed to pay over $300,000 of taxpayers' monies to initiate the audit. I'm nothing short of flabbergasted by the deeply troubling unethical practices committed by Ms. Segura during her tenure as an HR director for Weslaco ISD. As presented in this long report, the majority has to do with HR practices. Her unethical actions and nepotism caused so much harm and heartache to so many people that were not given opportunities to excel in their careers or given an employment opportunity, period. Our students got robbed of not having the best qualified applicants fill positions that were posted. In many cases, positions were filled by the least qualified applicants. First and foremost, the role of a human resource director is to foster fairness, inclusion, and respect within the workplace. However, her actions undermine these values. In this report, there are many sightings of favoritism, discrimination, and manipulation in the decision-making process that created a toxic environment where employees felt undervalued and disregarded. These were not just isolated issues, but clear patterns of behavior that go against the very principles that HR should have been upholding. Her unethical practices led to unjust treatment of employees, including biased hiring practices, unequal opportunities for advancement, and the wrongful dismissal of staff members. In a fair and just workplace, each individual should have an equal opportunity to succeed, regardless of their background, gender, or personal relationships. Unfortunately, this clearly was not the case under her tenure as HR director. Her actions were not only unfair, but also a violation of the ethical standards that she failed to uphold. You must restore trust and ensure that such unethical practices are not repeated in the future. And every Weslaco ISD employee deserves a workplace where respect and fairness prevail, and it is up to us to advocate for a culture that reflects these values. I strongly believe that each one of you will agree that she did a lot of damage that resulted in her termination. As a board, it is imperative that you continue to hold her accountable by not awarding her any monies that belong to taxpayers and our students. You must continue to restore trust and ensure that such unethical practices are never repeated in the future by setting an example this evening. On behalf of all the people that she harmed and the students of Weslaco ISD, do the right thing and say no to lining her pocket at the expense of our taxpayers and students. Present the Weaver report to a jury and let them serve justice to all the victims of Weslaco ISD. Thank you, and God bless Weslaco ISD.
Thank you, Mrs. Garza. Next on the agenda is Ms. Julie Valdez. Jules. Does Jules please state your name and your address?
My name is Julianne Valdez, and my address is in Stone Street,
And Dr. Jaime will...
Weslaco, Texas, sorry.
Oh, okay. You have 3 minutes, so Dr. Jaime will let you know when you have 1 minute left. You may proceed.
Okay, I'm here talking about 12.B.1, and what I assume is 12.B.2, 12.B.3, and 12.B.4. I assume they're all related to one another. And this has to do in terms of Ms. Melba Segura. I just really want to say what Diana said, because I completely 100% agree with what Ms. Diana Garza just finished saying. And the thing is that my message and the reason why I'm here is very plain and simple. We should not be negotiating with educational terrorists, because that's what this woman was. That's what she yielded her position, her power, her influence. The 2 run-ins that I had with this woman, and I'm going to go ahead and state who it was because of that man over there, Dr. Cantu, and it was because a club had been unfairly taken away from me. When I was there, this club belonged to the students. I spearheaded this club. I brought it to fruition in the Weslaco East. And when I went there, from the start of the meeting, which should be documented because I saw her.
Hold on, Ms. Julie. Except when you're presenting, do not mention names, please.
Well, I don't know how to say this without saying names.
Just say...
So I cannot say Melba Segura either, or yes?
That one's already clear. You're okay with that. But don't mention any other ones that are employed right now. Just say a person.
Yeah. So a person that's a doctor that has no class, he went...
Again, don't insinuate. Please just use facts. Okay?
I've seen him. I've seen the way he treats people.
Again, I'm going to give you...
He treated me such a way, too.
I'm going to give you one more opportunity, or it's going to end.
I will take that opportunity, sir, so I could finish what I have to say. But what I see here is exactly why I'm here. This is exactly why I'm here. And I'm because you all protect the institution, admin, the higher ups, y'all protect the bad behavior of these individuals. And not only do you protect the bad the behavior, you guys pay them off. You pay them off. You settle with them.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
And what I'm saying here, am I going to get restored the time I was interrupted? And you guys sit there, and you guys and the public should know that you have given tax monies to people who have committed wrong and do not deserve to have gotten that money. There are people here, somebody who went 1.5 years without, and going over here, this is why I'm here. Because this has got to stop. Those payouts have to stop, or else where does it stop? Ms. Melba Segura brings a lawsuit and you're gonna settle with her? You're gonna, like Ms. Yana Garza said, line her pocket with money after she did all the wrongdoing. It's on the Weaver report. We paid $325,000. And that's why I'm here, because this has got to stop, because where does it end? So does that mean I can come with a lawsuit and also get a payout? Because people have lost their jobs because this woman. Everybody's gonna line up and ask you guys with a hand forward just to ask you for some money? So that's why I'm here. Do not settle with this woman.
Thank you, Ms.
Do not settle.
Thank you. Next is Edward Mejia. Please state your name and your address when you step up to the podium, please.
Before we move on, can I ask a question? The First Amendment, because I'm studying these cases right
Okay.
now. This is a question for legal. For the First Amendment, freedom of speech, are names allowed to be said in the meetings? Because what I've seen in public cases, they are? At a school board? I mean, it's a First Amendment speech. That's why I'm asking. I want to make this clear that we are legally. Okay, I just want to make sure that we are following the law correctly.
That's a good question, Mr. Slaita, and we'll look into it for the next board meeting.
Well,
But
policy can be set by the school district.
Correct.
As to what's allowed and allowed, but usually, you're right, you don't allow public comments to be used against active employees because you're not
Correct.
protecting them.
I am studying a case, Pickering versus Board of Education, and this is exactly what it was about. And I took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the public comment. So I just want to make sure that you know as legal that. I understand. I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by law, by the Constitution of America and the First Amendment speech, that we are following legal practices.
And we'll follow up for the next board meeting so that we can have a copy of the policy. And I believe that's what it states. The policy states that you cannot mention names.
Also, I want to clarify, sir, that I wasn't going to.
Excuse me, we're not finished. Mr. Mejia, you're up.
Let me talk.
You're up, Mr. Mejia. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jules.
I wasn't going to say anything bad about it.
I know.
Before that time, can you all have that posted in case you'll have that policy searched
Yes.
so we can see it
Yes.
before my time starts?
All right. You stated your name and your address?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Board President, Dr. Richard Rivera, members of the board. My name is Mr. Edward Mejia, of course. You all know me very well. And my address is here in Weslaco for the past 38 years.
All right, so you have 3 minutes, and Dr. Hyman will let you know when you have a minute left. You may proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Board President. My position here today is plain and simple. I am, as a very proud uncle of my nephew that attends B. Garza Middle School, I am very upset and disgusted on the level of that administration that you have in place there. That school is disgusted, and they have no place nor value on the way because of the simple fact how my nephew, who's in the 6th grade currently and is a first-time attendee of Weslaco ISD, has been bullied since he's been in that school. I am sick and tired of my nephew coming home and telling us that nothing has been done. There was a severe incident which I brought to your superintendent's attention, and I also very disgusted on the level of the way y'all, as board members, I've helped every single one of y'all personally, have not been there to help us at all in this situation. It's very upsetting. I'm very hurt, and I apologize for my earlier outbursts, the way I conducted myself. But I mean, put yourself in my shoes. My nephew, who was very proud to come to this district, is being ridiculed and bullied, and your assistant principal, which I'm not going to mention names because you said we're not supposed to, but he had the nerve to threaten my nephew and place him in handcuffs while your principal sat and did nothing. Nothing. And you have a superintendent that's sitting there saying that he's against bullying, and my nephew has been bullied severely, and nothing has been done about it. This is ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of having this happen. My nephew, all he's trying to do is get the same education as everyone else. And I don't know if it's because he's being called out because of me personally being so politically influenced. And if that's the case, I should have no bearing whatsoever, because that's me as a proud individual that loves to do what I love to do on the side. My nephew loves to go to that campus, but at the end of the day, he's being harmed by individuals because of his weight, unfortunately. And none of y'all, I've contacted some of y'all individually, and all of y'all have lied to me and said that you were going to help me out. I've come and tried to get another meeting with Dr. Rivera. His secretary tells me she has informed me that he's not available, yet he sits there and said that he has an open door policy and we can come and visit as we see, but I've still been waiting. I have the proof where I've been contacting Mari, trying to get a meeting, and my brother has as well, my sister-in-law too. And he just said there was another incident that happened the other day, and that administration has just been very rude, and they just have not addressed the issue at all. So I am not going to leave here until I get a meeting and see what's going to happen with my nephew, see what direction we can do with this, because it's getting out of hand. And my nephew is traumatized because there's a lot of mending situations that have been transpiring with the first incident, and now it keeps occurring. So we just want action to be done. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia, and Dr. Rivera will follow up alongside the counseling staff. Thank you. That's the last one, correct? All right. Let's continue on. Number 8, Lone Star Governance, Dr. Rivera.
Yeah, let me start with the superintendent's report. On page 1, everything we do is on the core values, on the Lone Star, the PEAMS, safety and security, curriculum, finances, everything is tied in to student outcomes. On page 2, this is where we have the enrollment. We start the online enrollment, and the staffing is based on student enrollment. The larger enrollment, the more staff that we have. You will see the schools, and then the difference last year and this year. Sam Houston is at a +8, Silva a +39, Gonzalez a -53, Margo a +20, Airport a -24, Memorial a +29, Northbridge a +26, Rico a -24, Kleckler Hill a -47, Ibarra a -6, Mary Hogue a -76, Cuellar a +4, Central a -1, Big Garza a -27, the Career Development Center, the dropout area, a +34, South Palm Gardens, 0. No, it's same number, 64. East a -65, and Weslaco High a +38. So overall, comparing years, we're at a -115. So again, earlier you saw all the awards, and we have all of these schools, and we have outstanding students, and you saw their achievements. So I'm very proud of all of our students and staff for the work they do. And again, we're second to no one. On page 3, I'm happy to report that we set the budget at $14,500. The average is right now, at the end of 4-6 weeks, is $14,700. With the SASE, it's a +449. Together, ADA plus the SASE is $15,149. The increase ADA above the budget is $649 times $8,500 per student. So right now, at the end of the 4-6 weeks, we have a surplus of $5.5 million, which is very, very, very good. We still have 2 challenging 6 weeks to go. And with this money, we're looking at the incentive stipends, classroom supplies, and I want to commend, again, the principals, our staff at schools, the parents, Diana Garza, who does the visits, and then my cabinet. All of us together are responsible for having a good ADA. Again, too challenging, 6 weeks to go, but right now, if school ended today, we would have $5.5 million more. On page 4, this is the ADA from previous years. In '23, the budget was set at $15,700, but the actual amount was $13,800. This was before my time, and because of that, we added millions. I think it was $17 million in the deficit. We've taken care of that, and with the ESSERs. So that was a bad year as far as the ADA. In '24, the proposed budget was $14,000. We came in at $14,522. There were additional millions of dollars for '24. For this school year, we set the budget at $14,500, and right now it's $14,700. So because of this, again, we anticipate the additional monies. For next year, instead of going $14,700, I'm going to go $14,600, a little conservative because of the vouchers. We don't know what's going to happen. So if it's higher than $14,600, we get additional monies. If it's lower, we have to pay the money back. So again, very proud of everyone that I mentioned. They're responsible for all of this. And again, we continue the hard work. On page 5, I mentioned before, kind of want to bring it up again. This is completed fund balance projects, not with bond election monies, but from savings. And there's 16 that I want to bring up. The Aquatic Center, these have been done or in progress. The Weslaco East High School Stadium scoreboard, the district chairlift at the stadium, LED lighting, the billboard, the 2 activity buses, playground equipment, sensory rooms, 3 yellow buses, some maintenance vehicles, portable AC units, baseball and softball turfs at both high schools, the extracurricular needs, the tents, hydration system, the drainage, the marquee at Mary Hope, Cuellar, and Kate. We're working on the Margot marquee. We'll have that by the summer, and then fire alarm. So again, these are things that were done through not bond election, monies from our savings, from our fund balance. On page 7, these are the kind of the new ones. I've added some. As you know, on A, we have $65 million in our fund balance. The 3-month reserve is $43 million. So we have $22 million left to do on projects. This money is earning interest, and you can see that I have 15 listed. We're looking at the electric gates for the campuses, district-wide library furniture, additional costs for the HVAC that were not budgeted, and I'll get a report to you next month on the HVAC. We have the gym bleachers at Central and B. Garza, the Barbie field bleachers, the band practice area, the water fountains and canopies, vehicles, pavilion repairs, campus maintenance tractors, the activity bus, the canopy, the turf at our stadium. That will be done after graduation. We talked last month about the pool demolition and storage. Then we also talked about having the open dirt area between the softball fields to go ahead and do some asphalt work on it. So of the amount that's there, we still have $9 million left. And then the budgets, we continue again in the fall with the money that's saved. And most districts use fund balance to balance their budgets. We use fund balance for projects. On page 7, these are items on tonight's consent agenda. On A, we have the quotes for more carpet in our offices. On B is the agenda item to approve the energy consultant, Marco Arredondo. And also under consent, we have the approval to delegate to me the authority to go ahead and sign a contract for the electricity services that provide the best value for the district. We study the market daily, so when it's low, we need to go ahead and contract, and then later I'll come to the board. And then the district on the rate right now is 0.042 per kilowatt hours, and this expires in May. The current electricity market rate is 0.65, which is higher. So if it stays that high, we're going to have to put an additional $500,000 into the budget. So we're going to study this carefully. And right now, we pay about $3 million for the year. We want to go out there throughout the district and help reduce the energy consumption. Also, D, on the under consent, is the scope of work for half associates for the demolition of the pool and then the storage building that will go next to it. So again, these are items on tonight's agenda under consent. On page 8, under business and finance, the board approved an internal auditor, and I want to introduce Rose Underkirk, and she's here tonight. We'd like to introduce her. She'll be responsible to the board, and we'll meet with her and the board to see what items need to be, what concerns we have, some risks throughout the district, and again, she will report to the board. And again, this is a check and balances that we check our business office. Someone's going to go out there and just make sure everything is done correct. And again, this pertains to the TA report on what we need to take action. Property and casualty. Our values, property holdings have increased. And actually, Mr. Monse Montalvo has come up with a decrease. So last year, for example, we paid 1.960, and this year it's $1,654,000. So right now there's a difference of what we paid last year of $305,000. And if the board approves this, then we'll use this money to go ahead and put this money back on the electricity that we anticipate being higher. So again, staff and I negotiated with Mr. Monse Montalvo. He was a team player, and he lowered the fee. On page 6, this is human resources. On A, we start the evaluations of all staff this year. Everyone's going to be evaluated. On B, we're going to monitor the staff as we do the April recommendations, and then we'll look at the ones that have permits to make sure they're properly certified. On page 10, we're going to start the budget. This is the preliminary budget. On page 11, these are factors affecting the budget. So we're staying abreast of the legislative bills in Austin that will impact the school funding. We're looking at the school enrollment impacts, the vouchers, virtual schools. We're looking at student absences that affect the ADA, the public health outbreaks, immigration concerns. So these are factors that will affect the 26 budget. On page 12, we have the revenues, and we have a balanced budget. This school year, we budgeted the revenues $200 million, and we probably will spend less than $200 million. So whatever is left will go into the fund balance for projects. So for next year, we're doing the same thing. We have no idea what they're going to do in Austin, so we want to make sure we keep a balanced budget with the same revenues and the same expenditures. The figures do not include any projected pay increases. On page 13, we're always looking at new revenues. We're looking to bring more money in, and you can see we're doing the interest from the general fund, the interest from the bond monies. We're looking at grants, the new state monies that will increase to the basic allotment. So on E, we're going to see how much remained from the 25 budget. And then on F, we're looking to reduce the 25 budget by hiring teachers, the new hires to the ones that are retired, and then reduction of instructional programs no longer needed. The tax rate collection will bring additional monies. The 25 budget, again, we estimated 14.5, and it's 14.7. That brings additional monies. And then for 26, budget in 14.5 to 14.6, that will bring additional funds. So with these new revenues, we expect to go ahead and balance the 26 budget. On page 14, we expect increases in utilities, health insurance, technology, instructional material. These are going to be some of the new expenses. On page 15, the staffing for next year, we're not going to hire anyone. We're going to stay with the same staff that we have. But the important thing going to be, no one will lose their job. Other districts are having to reduce staff. No one will lose their job here. And again, the employee pay increase will be determined by the state legislature in June. And then by having the high ADA, we want to continue with the incentive stipend. Again, December, $1,000 for all staff. In May, $1,000 for all staff. And on page 16, again, we want to be second to no one. This is the teacher hiring scale. So for 25, you can see the PSJA, Edinburgh, and Mission are a little higher than Weslaco. You can see the rest, down in South Texas, La Jolla, Harlingen, Los Fresnos, Brownsville, McAllen, El Cauchelso, San Benito, Mercedes. And you want to increase for next year, for 26, $1,000 more, and then plus the stipend. So with those two, we should be at $60,000 for our beginning teachers. Very good information. And I just want to conclude that in this district, we don't tolerate bullying. We handle the bullying. I can tell you that individuals that talked a little while ago, we met with the mother and the father of that student, and the proper discipline was done. So we already met. And again, we meet with the parents, not with relatives. And that's what we did. And I can tell you at Big Garza, the fights have been reduced quite a bit. And there are consequences for fighting. So again, we don't condone bullying. And again, what I mentioned, you all know this, that I meet with every single individual that wants to see me. Sometimes it can be from one day to the next, but eventually I will meet with them. And I can tell you that is fact. Anyone that you talk to, I will meet. But it can be, I got a busy schedule. I can't meet from one day to the next or in 2 days. It takes time sometimes. But I meet with all the ones that want to see me. But again, I like to meet with the parents and not with family members. That's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. And I know that you will let the principals and counselors know to follow up on bullying. That's just something that you always do. All right. Comments on the superintendent's information. Mr. Los Santos, you can begin.
Yes, for the enrollment, if we can go back to that slide, just a few key, I'm going to be real brief. I'm not going to take too long. For the enrollment on by campus, I just wanted to, I've had a lot of outreach in the community, especially now that we're in the recruitment season for enrollment and about student levels. So I agree with some of the outreach as well, too. If you look at some of the campuses have met or exceeded their capacity. So what happens when that happens? So what does that mean? So when you exceed the capacity of a campus and you overstaff classrooms, you're putting at risk the instruction, right, and the academic performance of all those kids. And how fair is it? Because we have great schools, outstanding schools throughout the whole entire north, south, east, and west. Okay, and so when you allow too many kids to be enrolled into a campus, whether it just be because of convenience or whatever the reasoning be, you're going to affect everyone who lives in that area, who pays taxes in that area, and should have a first choice at that seat. And so it's just something that we really need to keep an eye on. And I know it's something recently, the last 2 years has been an issue too, especially for some campuses. Some campuses you have classroom levels that are a lot smaller compared to others. You have, maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, I've heard numbers, I don't know if they're accurate, that's why I'm gonna ask what I'm gonna ask next, but 17 versus 22 to 23, those type of things, or even less. So just kind of, for me, I was gonna ask in this section, talking about enrollment, if we could have a presentation as enrollment continues, if we could have a presentation on what our staffing level, what the numbers are for enrollment per campus. Like and what is the maximum capacity? Because as long as you're not exceeding the maximum capacity, then we should be okay. But once we're exceeding the maximum capacity, then who's at risk? The students in the classroom, because there is just too many kids. And it's something that's been touched up even in the last meetings, right? That's all I want to say about that one. As far as the ADA, I know that it's always this time of year when events start happening and testing happens, and then everybody thinks the year ends already. But just not only talking to parents, but also talking to teachers, right? The importance of why does ADA matter? Because the more kids you bring in, that higher the ADA is, that's where the raises come in. That's where the stipends come in. That's when there's extra funds for improvement. So if that message can just kind of be pushed and say, hey, call those that aren't coming or starting to slack off, right? They got to get it. You got to bring them in. You got to keep coming. We're not done yet. I just wanted to touch on that. The other one is the security. I know that we're looking at all the items that are under contract, fields, turf, et cetera, roofs. But that security system, I know Mr. Castillo had talked about that issue with me too. That out in open session is that's whatever security system ends up being selected. I think it's very important that we start moving on that, because I know certain districts, even where I work at, they brought that in, and there's other ones, Uvalde and all these other districts that they discussed about. Those quick response systems are outstanding. Like, it's very quick, it's very clear. If you've ever been on a campus, especially I'm looking at those principals, I know that your radio's probably going off 3 different ways, right? You got somebody in the front, you got this going on over there, you got that going on over there, and you're thinking, okay, how do I split myself 3 ways? Those type of systems, there's multiple, they can click and you'll know, so that way staff automatically goes on their own. Okay, we got a small fight going on over there, security's gonna respond to that. We got an intruder over here, let's notify 911. We had a child that's having a seizure, okay, medical. So it kind of already gets the ball rolling before you even try to assess what's on the walkie-talkie and what's happening, and you know who to send. And so I think I've seen it firsthand in action. What company they decide to get, that's up to the administration, but it's a really, really good system with quick response, and I've seen it help kids that are being bullied or being assaulted, et cetera, or people that have medical conditions, or even just an intruder that's in the wrong area at the wrong time. So I wanted to just discuss that. And then the last one was the balanced budget, okay? So I want you to give yourself credit. You keep saying balanced budget, but when you say balanced budget means, like most districts, that they're spending to the penny. They're getting $200 million, they're spending $200 million, okay? Dr. Rivera doesn't have a balanced budget. He has a budget with surplus, okay? And that is very rare to find in not only just Region 1, but a lot of regions. So the administration and all the department heads and campuses, I know, you could hire more people, but then you take away resources, right? And they've been very lean and very lenient and very effective. So just congratulations to all you all, speaking on myself and probably the board too, the superintendent and all the staff and campuses and departments. You're the ones that make that happen. That's your ownership for that surplus. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Los Santos. Coach Serna, any comments on the superintendent report?
Mark made a few good points there, and I'll just piggyback on one of the things. I think a workshop would be in order for enrollment and staffing, and I think that's what I'm going to touch up.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Ben Castillo?
Yes, sir. A couple of them. A lot of them are piggybacking off what Mark had said on that enrollment sheet, Doc. Like, we have some elementaries that are high. Margot Elementary, Memorial Elementary. Who else? Klecker Held. It's always it's pretty up there. With some of that money that we have, can we look at maybe looking at some expansions there at those campuses that are at the high kind of capacity, along with looking at transfer policies and all that kind of good stuff. And now I see the hesitation on the transfer thing the last couple of years, because now I'm starting to get the calls too. But I understand parents want to send their kids where they want to send their kids. But if that's the case, if we could kind of help out those campuses a little bit more. And then same thing with what Mark said about the security, again, using that money that you've done very good to have for us, Doc. Like Mark said, our surplus budget, if we could move on the security stuff, a little bit faster. Even on this list, the electric gate still says pending, and we'll continue to study state funding initiatives. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my only comment on that. And then on this RFP, Doc, I was going to pull it from consent, but I won't now that you put it on here. I was noticing on the energy consultant that we only had that only one person submitted on time. And so I just wanted to, I think it's a very, if I'm not mistaken, it's a long-term contract, maybe 5 years.
It can be, or it can be less.
Or whatever the case may be, I wanted to see if the administration would be totally opposed to if the board were to reject it and redo it so we could have more than one bidder.
I'd rather not. I'd rather keep what I have right now.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
All right. And then on the property deal, just wanted to say good job to Montse. The decreases, that's good. That's not normal.
These days, it's going the other way around.
Okay. I'll make sure to sue some schools then so we could get it back up. Just kidding. No, well, good job. That's awesome. Thank you for helping us decrease that. And then again, on the budget, Doc, always a great job on that, and thank you for your planning, and thank you for all you do in your team.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo.
And the reason I want to go ahead and hire that consultant is because the contract ends on May, I think May 31st. So we don't have very much time to go out there and select someone.
I saw the cost. It was $12,500 a year. Let's make sure in the contract that they're not making any commissions from the electricity companies.
Okay.
And again, we contracted several consultants, and only one came through. And that's the reason it's due in May, so we need to act like tonight.
Yes, sir. Very good, positive comments. Dr. Jaime?
Great job, Dr. Rivera. You know, and like it's been said, you know, in regarding security, I can't, you know, I don't think we can go wrong in over, you know, just doing what we need to do for security, whether it's alert systems, whether it's manpower, you know, I don't think we can overspend on that, you know, so whatever we need to do with the finances, you know, let's make sure our schools are safe, continue to be safe, and thank you for all the hard work, and you know, with that budget and the numbers, you know, I know it's a team effort there, and to all of y'all involved, you know, great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime. Mrs. Sustaita?
Yes, sir. I'd like to focus on one of the slides. It was the 2024-2025 teacher hiring. And I'm just very happy to see the projection that we have coming up for 25-26, because it says here that the beginning teacher salary will be from 58, and then the 2,000 incentive pay is going to go to 60,000. And I was just looking here through my little iPad here, and I found something that I really liked. And it says the best part of teaching is that it matters, but the hardest part of teaching is that every moment matters every day. And I really get to feel this because I know a lot of you guys already know that I went back to the classroom this year for an internship that I have. And after leaving for 8 years, I was thinking, no, it's going to be the same, totally different in the classroom from 8 years ago to now. And I just want to make sure that we all know teachers, everybody's important, from the bus drivers to the parents, the administrators, but the teachers are really the heart of what happens all day long with the kids. And I've seen some great teachers in Weslaco, of course, and there's a lot of other teachers in other districts that are, you know, amazing teachers. And if we can bring them over by having this competitive salary, it's that we're going to see the positive outcomes in that. And I just want to mention to you that TIA that just came in, you know, I saw it on social media with all these teachers that were going to be receiving these funds. It's amazing. It's very, very good to see that they're very well deserving of this. And so many other teachers who didn't get it this time, you know, hopefully we work around to see what else we can do to help the teachers. But I did have a question, and I know I had emailed you, Doctor, but you know, it's been so busy. But I had gotten some messages from some teachers saying, we're very happy for all the teachers who got it, but can you explain to us, was it, and maybe you can answer this later on, was it a formal versus a summative evaluation? They were kind of confused as to the methodology or the formula that went into this TIA designation. So maybe later on, not now, I know we're running out of minutes, but maybe later on, we can have an update or, you know, have something where we can explain, or not us explain, but the teachers are explained to of how this worked, because there was a little bit of confusion. But regardless, everybody who did this, who got the TIA, amazing job. We are super proud of you guys, and women, ladies and gentlemen, and it's good to see that we are also increasing. So thank you very much for putting the funds into the teachers for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Sustaita. Let the record reflect that Coach Correa walked in at 6:50. Dr. Rivera, on behalf of myself, of course, ADA, very important. The principals and administration and teachers have done an excellent job, but that will also, like Mr. Castillo mentioned, that the stipends, the salary increase, all that helps out. Also, the salary for everybody, actually, it will improve. So continue to do the job that you do with you and, of course, your central office administrative staff. And other districts are asking, how can you afford a salary increase? How can you afford these resources for teachers? But you know, all the hard work from you and your staff, and of course, I always go back to the schools, the principals and administration there and the teachers. And principals remind the teachers, remind the students that they have to be in school. Very important. And if we can do that, and I know every school does that, and we'll continue to improve, and of course, we'll continue to do a good job. And on the budget, excellent, excellent job, Dr. Rivera. Coach Craig, I know you just walked in. Any comments on the superintendent's report? I think.
Well, I didn't get to see it, but as always, I'm sure, without any reservations, that you have continued to do an outstanding job, yourself and your staff, and we're here to support everything we were doing, because I firmly believe that as a team of 8, it's going to happen.
Yes.
Well, it's happening, but we'll get better.
Right, on time.
And just for your information, Coach Cuellar and Dr. Jaime were at the agenda review with Dr. Rivera on Thursday, so he kind of already knew what was on the agenda. So that's why I asked him a question right now. I didn't put him on the spot, but he's.
It's okay.
Let me go back to the enrollment, real quick, Mr. Neto.
Yes, sir.
I know some schools are high, like Memorial, and so we're studying this, and it's not an easy fix, because there are kids that are in there right now, they're there with transfers that have been approved. So we are looking to reduce the amount, but I don't see Memorial going any lower than 1,100 for next year. And yeah, we're studying this, but a lot of kids want to go there, and a lot of parents, and we've got staff members that work in the district, and they don't live in that zone, but they're transferred. They're allowed to go to that school. So again, it's not an easy fix, but we're working on it. And I can tell you, I've gotten phone calls every single day, parents, on what we're trying to do to correct it. But it's not an easy fix, but we're going to fix it. But it's not going to be like 900 kids for next year. It's going to stay at this number. Because right now, they can work with this number, but it's not going to be larger than this. And again, the principal and I and staff have met on this, but there are a lot of factors again. We want to put more kids in the other schools, but it's not an easy fix. But we'll continue working with it.
The one that I got called on was, you have a 4th grader who's there and they want to enroll their pre-K in there because they're brothers. And so I get that, you don't want to be you don't want to be dropping off kids at different campuses in the morning. So yeah,
No,
I get it's a tough.
They'll all be there or another school. It's not going to be some here and some there. Again, it's not an easy fix. And it didn't happen just this year. It's been happening for many, many years.
And I know that one of the discussions we've had in private and also in open a little bit is just the land purchases. Because reality, Weslaco is growing. If you've been to the south, well, north and south, and I know that the city and all them can contest to that as all the subdivisions are coming up, but especially Milano Road and all those areas, you're not having subdivisions, you're having apartment complexes. So each one is 4 families. Every lot is 4 families. So if you got a 60-unit subdivision, you imagine how many families are going to pour into that, and then they're all zoned to some of these schools.
We're aware, but
Yeah.
remember last month I mentioned the planning we're going to have.
Right.
We're going to look at the planning, we're going to get a committee, look at everything.
Right.
And we're either going to build new schools.
But it takes time.
It takes time. We're going to add, but a bond election is coming. That's the only way to fix if we continue growing. Now, the vouchers might take care of it.
Right.
We might lose kids. But the plan is there. The plan is there, but it's going to be a community plan. We're going to get, again, the students involved, the parents involved, and see what we need. Either a new school, a new elementary, a new high school, additional wings, but it's something that needs to be addressed like soon.
And I want to just real quick, since it's still open, right? But I want to commend you also on your restraint, because I know before we're talking about 14,700 for next year, budget on that. And he lowered it down 100 because of the changes, the vouchers. It's those actions and that mentality as a superintendent as to why they're surplus. Because you could have the budget set at 16,005, that's what you have enrolled, but just to have the self-restraint and be responsible, financially responsible, fiscally responsible, to say, you know what, we're not gonna go 14.7, we'll cut back, we'll go out and knock off 100, and then we'll still hopefully end up with a higher surplus. Those are the reasons. I know Mr. Castillo said a lot of people ask, why is it or how is it you're doing it? That's how you're doing it, by having that fiscal responsibility and restraint to do what's right. So I want to commend you and your staff on that again before we finish.
Dr. Rivera, I'm glad you mentioned it, what you're saying. It's a difficult situation, but a lot of parents have called, a lot of the board members on that situation, especially Memorial. And you'll just have, hopefully they're listening and understand that it's something that is not an easy fix, like you say. It's going to take time. So parents that attend Memorial, and if say you're not going to be zoned there, we have other schools that are excellent too. Just because, Memorial's an excellent school, but so is Kleckler Hill, so is Margot, so is Gonzalez, so, they're all excellent schools. It's just the location, I'm assuming, but congratulations on everything else. Any other comments? All right, let's now continue to 8B. Discussion on the Lone Star Governance Board Monitoring Report for March 2025. Dr. Rivera.
Ms. Solano, want to call on her?
Yes, sir. Hi, good evening, Dr. Rivera, members of the board and community. So our March LSG presentation focuses on goal progress measure for middle of the year MAP scores for reading, right? So one of the things that I did, and I don't know if you noticed as you read your packet, was put a slide, an introductory slide that kind of let us know how is it that MAP is measured, right? So when you look at understanding NWEA measures of academic progress, our MAP scores, Weslaco ISD set the HB3 goal at a 60 percentile, right? We wanted to make sure that we were setting a goal that would be at the meets performance level, right? So what does that mean? When you look at the percentile ranges, right towards the bottom of that slide, you will see that the 60th percentile, right, which is the average score in MAP equals to a high approaches to a low meets. So if you're at the 60th percentile, you're already at the low meets performance level if you were taking the STAR or EOC, right? So that's how I want us to think about this, right, as I go through the slides. So as we move on, right, to GPM 1.1, which is again all in support and getting students ready for that third grade STAR exam and on to meet that 60th percentile at the meets performance level. So here in kindergarten, you will see that our current middle of the year score was a 54%, and our target is at a 58% district-wide, right? When you see the campuses, you will see that the campuses perform differently, but as a district, we are at 54%, and you have the targets and the scores for the special population. The special populations there. Again, kindergarten, because you see a dip, right, going into first grade, focuses a lot on early literacy skills like phonics, also letter identification, right, and concepts of print. So just something to note, in addition to kindergartners use the headphones as they're taking this adaptive diagnostic test versus in first grade, they are on their own, okay? So if you look at GPM 1.3, the percent of second grade students achieving the 60th percentile on MAP RLA. You have currently in our middle of the year exam, we score at 39%, and our target for the end of the year is a 46, or I'm sorry, did I skip one? I'm sorry. I stapled my pages wrong.
You skipped first grade.
Yes, I stapled my pages wrong. I'm so sorry, sir.
No
For
problem.
first grade, the middle of the year, we scored a 35, and our target is a 46. This is the dip that I was talking about from kinder to first grade. However, in first grade, we're looking at more complex concepts, a deeper understanding and comprehension of text, not just literacy foundational skills. And I'll talk a little bit more about this as we go to the district table. Then in GPM 1.3, which is second grade, we are currently at a middle of the year of 39%, and our end of the year target is a 46%, right? So when you look at the district table, and I want to focus our attention on the district table at the 60th percentile, right? For the campuses, you see very little green, or the green sporadic, right? And you see that, again, our end of the year target is a 58% for kindergarten, a 46 for first grade, and a 46 for second grade. You already have some campuses with those cells shaded in green that have met or surpassed at the middle of the year, the end of the year target, and other campuses nearing or approaching, and other campuses still lagging, right? So one of the things that we see, right, in discussions with our instructional coaches, our content coordinator for our elementary, RLA, in its discussions with her, with the principals or administration, is we are seeing great success in Kinder. Kinder started our blended learning instruction approach in the classroom, differentiation, right, during our Tier 1 instruction. So we are seeing the benefits of that. Our first grade teachers are currently being trained by Mr. Scott Amdahl and Ms. Julie Kelly, along with the support of the CNI group. So we are, happy to report that our kinder teachers are doing amazing, right? The classrooms that were already blended learning classrooms, we were already seeing some of this performance, some of these goals being met. Now that we are district-wide, our kinder scores, have improved our student outcomes. So, what needs more attention? We are now focused on doing the same thing, replicating that in first and second. Next year, we will expand to first grade while training second grade. And obviously, we are now in discussions with Region 1 to adopt the Bluebonnet high-quality instructional materials too. So next year will be our planning year for reading language arts as well. So if you now look, I added, from the presentation you received, I added 2 extra slides because I thought it was important for the community, but also for everyone to see. If we were to run this same data at an approaches, right, percentile, which would equal not even the 30th percent, but I ran it at the 30th percent, but we could run it at the 21st percent and still be passing in STAR. You see your whole table is green, right? So we could sit here and say, all of our campuses would be meeting already the end of the year target in the middle of the year assessment. So kudos to everyone for doing a phenomenal job because the entire table is green, right? But then I said, okay, let's get closer to high approaches, but not yet the meets where we set our goals. So the next table is at the 50th percentile, which would be equivalent to still a high approaches, right? Still not even the target we set. Almost most of the data table is still shaded in green. So congratulations to the amazing work that's happening at the campuses as well. So I just wanted you all to have a visual and understanding of the ranges and how it's similar or projected to a STAR EOC performance as well. So that is our presentation on the goal progress measure. The next one is the superintendent constraint, our CPM. And I will be bringing to the board as a committee for LSG, we will be making a recommendation to amend the board monitoring calendar just because some items in the board monitoring calendar have shifted in months. Right, so we do want to bring that in the April board meeting for your review and approval. But last evaluation that the board conducted for the LSG framework, a lot of good things were happening, right? The communication, the transparency, the trust between administration and board, but more than anything, the outline presentations that have been happening every month, right, at the board meetings, and also through just the communication through board updates and any other reports or presentations. The community has all of this available also through our website, right? And then we continue working with Dr. Cinto Ramos to strengthen the Lone Star governance framework. I know one thing that we discuss and we continue to discuss every time the board conducts a self-evaluation or through our workshops is just community involvement, right, within the Lone Star governance framework. So that is that will continue to be a focus for the CPM, right? 5.1. And then next, Mr. Nieto, I know that we have the Lone Star governance board self-evaluation.
We do, but before we do the self-evaluation,
Yes.
let's see if any of the board members have
Yes.
comments on your presentation. That way we make a better decision on our evaluation.
Yes.
I'll begin with Mrs. Sustaita.
Yes. I wrote down 3 questions when I was over at my office. But then I noticed when I was online that the data changed. I wrote down some numbers and then it said refresh, data changed. And I said, whoa, what's going on? What happened with, because even the targets changed to 2025 targets that I had down on my paper, they changed. Did we do something?
So the targets changed for the special population groups because we had only set the target for the all students Hispanic group, but we had not set the target for your EcoDis, bilinguals, and special ed.
And that's exactly what I was working on, the special ed.
Last year, Ms. Ustaita, you had requested for us to go back in.
Yeah.
Because the all student group target was above those special populations. So we did. So that we set this year targets for all of our special populations.
Okay, because the original data, you had different targets, and I was looking specifically at the special ed population.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I wrote these numbers, but then they changed, so I just did my math calculations real quick. So my question, and I believe that it's future-based, according to our LSG meeting, focusing on the future and not current. So I have 3 questions, and my first one's going to start with special ed. In kindergarten, if I look at the special ed, the current middle of year is 29%, and the target is 22%. So we're actually above 7%, right? Then we get to first grade, special ed, and we're currently at 6%. We want to be at 14% in May, which is 2 months away, and we are still needing to climb 8%. Then I get to second grade, and we're currently at 9% in special ed, and we want to get to 22%, so that's a 13%. So I'm seeing the gaps increase as the grade levels, and I understand, because I'm in the classroom, that the things get more, the test assessments get more difficult. I understand. But my question for you is, because this gap is increasing as the grade levels increase, how are we going to address this issue, and how can the board help?
Okay, so one of the things that we talked about, and Mr. Neo and I actually had this discussion, right? Because first we have to look at, is the gap only a gap in special ed, or is it across all populations, right? So we see it across all populations, and again, we see that dip from kinder to first, right? So the first thing that we said is, what is the key difference from kinder to first, right? So we talked about that, the complexity in the diagnostic test, right, versus to the use of headphones, right, and audio, which helps tremendously, right, too. So those are 2 main differences in the exam, right, from kinder to first. But also, too, one of the things that we talked about is just even our dyslexia screening, right? Is that, if it was one population, Ms. Ustaita, that was only showing that significant gap difference, then I would be very concerned. But one of that, as you see it across through all populations, it really all points out to the fidelity of your high-quality instructional materials, tier 1 instruction in the classroom, because it's not only affecting one group, but it's affecting all.
Right.
So as we move forward with balanced instruction, blended learning, right, we should be able to address those gaps.
Yes, and the only reason I bring special ed specifically up is because being in the classroom, I see the needs, are the accommodations being met? Do we need more resources for those kids in special ed? Because it is a tougher population to service because of the needs that they have. So I'm thinking as a teacher, do we really have everything we need? Do we have the resources? Do we have the extra teaching support? I know the special ed teachers do wonderfully servicing these kids, but I do see this as our sore spot. That special ed population really needs a lot of attention, and whatever we can do as a board to help, especially this group. I know all the groups are important, but this one is special because I want to make sure they have everything they need. So that's why I asked, what can we do as a board? What other resources do we need to give them?
Most definitely. We study every week. We meet with Mr. Neil Garza to study first personnel and numbers, as we know that our numbers for the entire state have soared, right, tremendously in special education area.
Yeah.
But one of the things or reasons, and the state presents on this as well, is just that educational gap, right? We lag so much, especially in our language arts sections, after COVID, that we're trying to recuperate from that, right? But again, the only way we're going to be able to do that is putting the right resources in front of students and teachers.
Right.
So.
Okay. So that was my first question. Hopefully, we can work on that. And then my second question, also hopefully future oriented, and I'm looking now at first grade at the 60 percentile of MAP, and I understand that you say, well, the 60% is at the high approaches, low meets.
Right.
But as a teacher, they don't tell me, well, it's okay if they're almost going to meet it. You got to make sure you're helping those kids meet it. It's not going to be okay if I'm almost getting my kids there. So I just want to stay focused on where do we have to be, because I know that's the stress they give to us as teachers. So my question, given what we know about first grade, that we are at 35%, but we have to be at 46 by May 2025, which is an 11% difference. How are we going to speed up the progress to get there in May 2025?
So every campus has different interventions in place, right? Whether it's tutorial, extended day, whether it's power hours, whether it's an extended block in their language arts, right, with supplemental instructional materials. So one of the things is, one of the key focuses that we have stressed out with administration is just the importance of also testing protocols. How are we testing? Is testing impacting the way we test, right? Does it impact as well the way students perform? So one of the things that we have also stressed, and you brought up special population, Ms. Sustaita, is making sure that what we would do for a STAR or EOC student, right, whether it's small group, testing, whether it's accommodations, we implement at the lower grades too, because we want a true score, right? So from instruction to assessment, we make sure that we address anything of need or concern at that campus, because every campus is very unique.
Okay. So like, for example, let's say one of a kinder or a first grade student, one of his accommodations or hers is get the test orally read to you. I know it changes every year and with the ARDs, but that's something that sticks with that child until you're saying STAR comes around if needed.
We
So they'll be
implement
used to
them
it.
in early childhood as well, to be consistent.
All right. And then my last question, the number 3, I'm looking at strategies. You put what's working and what's not. And then, of course, you mentioned here, and it's by the campus report by grade level. Attention to personalized instruction through Aspire, Kinder, Savas, and the SIPs, and the high-frequency word list, fluency phrases. And then I see what needs more attention, and then it's the same thing, right? Like, will we still?
Right.
But you put here already in the works with first grade.
Yes.
So my question is, how do you know that this strategy is going to work? And can we use, is it being used in every grade level?
Right. So we started 3-4 years ago with Mr. Scott and Ms. Julie Kelly started with the blended learning, right? Differentiation, obviously providing these experiences for students, right? Meeting their academic needs and performance. So we are now doing it district-wide. We decided to do it district-wide this year for kinder. We are seeing the fruits of that work, right, of the labor. That is why we started training early on. January came around, we started training first grade teachers so that we didn't train at the beginning of the year. So the strength is kinder, what's working, but what needs attention is now first and second, right? So because we are seeing this group of teachers aligning all resources, right? All resources align and fill in the gaps if it wasn't a high quality instructional materials, because we know that what we had was not, an HQIM adopted curriculum back then, right? So that has worked for us in kinder. We are replicating that work in first and second.
That's good to know. I was wondering, and I know this isn't part of the monitoring, the board monitoring, progress monitoring report, but are we going to get an end of the year score for kinder through second grade?
Yes, I come again in one of the months with the end of the year score.
So we can see if, we are increasing at the end of the year with these
Yes,
kids.
you'll get all 3 administrations.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, those are my questions, sir.
Good questions, Mrs. Staita. Dr. Jaime?
Yes, in regards to what's working in kinder and you talked about the blended learning, what else are we seeing that's working aside from the blended learning that we're going to incorporate into, the other grades?
So I think more than anything, so the blended learning approach is differentiation, right? You don't even have to have a blended learning approach to do that. You can, excellent teachers in their T-test rubric, using their T-test rubric, differentiate for students are going to have great student outcomes, right? And we know that. And one of the things or the focuses of those campuses who have been part of the Aspire model, right, have seen that teachers who differentiate instruction every day in the classrooms for all types of learners have great student outcomes. So that is our goal, right? Whether it's blended learning model or not, our goal is to make sure we meet the needs and know the needs of our students. So we continue to stress that, sir, differentiation.
Great. Thank you. And on the what needs more attention, that second bullet point, component alignment, 1-to-2 fidelity to tier 1 materials. Can you kind of go over that a little bit?
So we have your adoption, right? Which is, we know we adopted and we need to be truthful because other concepts are taught, check, TEKS. But then we have a supplemental resource, which as a teacher, I love. Sometimes I spend more time on what I love than what I know needs to happen, right? So it's that, making sure that we monitor that with fidelity.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Great work. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime. Coach Cuellar?
Just from having been in the classroom, never at this grade level, but in general, when you have a group of students, not everybody's learning at the same pace. So when you are testing, where some have not met whatever you're looking for, and then you have those that are advanced, how do you deal with those different groups?
So differentiation in assessment protocols, right? Just like the state gives us a window for STAR and EOC, like a 2-week window, right? Because we need, the state realized not everybody could be tested on the same day. We have to differentiate, we have to accommodate to the learners. We do exactly the same thing for our little ones as well, because we understand it can be challenging at times. So we give them a window, and principals work with their teachers to make sure that we accommodate and we meet the needs of all learners, right, for assessment purposes, because that's the only way we're going to get, more than anything, accurate results.
And the key there was to meet the needs
Yes.
of all learners. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
It's hard work, sir. It's easy to just get one activity to all of them, but when you have to like do different things for your groups, ooh, that's why I'm saying teachers deserve a lot because they're differentiating and they're doing awesome. It's a lot of work.
Thank you, Coach Cuellar and Mrs. Sustaita. Mr. Ben Castillo?
Yes, I got, Coach asked a good question and it made me drop my coffee. Actually, I'm half kidding. In his question, with respect to how are we focusing on the kids who learn a little bit faster and not as fast, and your what is working, you have the attention to personalized instruction, to Aspire, all that kind of good stuff. How focused are we on that as a district, as far as per campus? Like I know we're saying we're doing it, but are we monitoring that it's happening?
The SALBA, sir?
The personalized instruction, or what is that? Can you define that?
Right, the differentiation, yes. And principals are being trained to monitor that as they're going through the training with the CNI group to make sure that we understand. And more than anything, I'll have to say teacher incentive allotment has shed the light on domains 2 and 3, because that is what teachers are being scored on. And that is the score that is being submitted, right, for our TIA teachers too. So there has been great emphasis in the last, now this is the 3rd year, on making sure that we understand truly the rubric, but not only that administrators understand that, but that our teachers understand how it should look in the classroom.
So the differentiation is the personalized part of it?
Right, correct.
Okay, so it's not like pulling kids out by themselves or?
No, we have those pull-out services as well for programs, but no, differentiation is happening in the classroom as you are planning and internalizing. As a teacher, I have to make sure that my instruction, what I'm going to administer today, reaches all learners.
Now, how can we as a board, support that effort with resources? I don't know, do they need more money or
So
to have more people that are looking at it or?
Dr. Rivera talked about instructional programs. We always review our instructional programs every year, and we invest in what, this blended learning model, the Aspire, right, is doing, the group, because, so whether it's Saturday trainings that they come to or just planning sessions, materials and resources to keep all this material organized in the classroom, because you need to have a great setup too, and a learning environment that is conducive to that. So yes, sir, we started that.
Because that dip in first grade concerns me a little bit. It seems to be district-wide. And you mentioned, right now to one of Jackie's questions, is that each principal has a different intervention. So is that working, where we have each principal have a different intervention, or should we look at a campus, an elementary campus, where one intervention is successful and just implement it district-wide?
So we have one that it's district-wide, which are iReady, right? Our program is our supplemental that is district-wide, that we purchased that through an approved agenda item last year. We felt that that was needed because it is a prescription that adapts to their MAP score, right? So it puts them in an individualized prescription, each student, based on that. So that is a district-wide approach. And then every campus has their own campus initiative.
And are you monitoring to?
We are monitoring that.
There's maybe one intervention's not working as good as another one? or-
Yes, sir.
So you're on top of that?
Yes, yes.
How many different interventions do we have?
So depends because campuses have 4 to 5 programs, right? Other campuses invest only in one, right? So it depends, like the campus-wide ones, right? That's what you're talking about? Yes.
But campus level, just to clarify off his question, it's online and offline.
Yes, correct.
I guess where I'm getting at is, I'm posing the question because I don't know.
Correct.
Would we be better suited if we didn't have so much, I don't want, diversity, I guess, in interventions as opposed, or figuring out which one works the best and making
So-
everybody implement it?
In our conversation with Ms. Van Heen, Region 1, 2 weeks ago, our Blue Bonnet adoption will not allow for the extra supplemental interventions, right? Because it's already a high-quality instructional material that has its own intervention, and it's a district-wide approach, and it's been proven effective, right? So that will eliminate all of that. So our
Okay,
March.
so we're moving towards that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, because you're like speaking not English to me right now, but I think I got it.
Yes.
And then, let me see. Yeah, I mean, those are my only questions. It's just, I just want us to make sure that we're focusing on these campuses that, you know, that are not, that need help, you know, with respect to meeting these middle of year percentage numbers. Again, going to the superintendent's constraints of equity. Again, equity is not the same for every campus. Some need more than others. And so I just want to make sure we're keeping that in mind. All right, that's all I got. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Coach Serna?
Well, just kind of piggyback on something that Mr. Staita said on special ed, the special ed department, closing the gap, I think it's very important. I think that'll help us overall. And I'm just curious as to, is there like there's a wide scope, you know, there's different areas. I mean, are we supporting the schools? Everything's been taken care of. Do we have a curriculum that we follow? I know there's IEPs and all.
Yes.
But what is it? I mean, are we?
So I think, Mr. Serna, especially in our early childhood, and we will see it trickling to the middle schools, but lately the need, right, or the most pressing need has always been staffing, but staffing has always been approved based on needs, right? Not just so much the numbers, but the needs, because the needs may look different in every classroom. So that automatically helps, right, these classrooms, but also to most of these classrooms, you know, your resource inclusion follow the same curriculum as your general ed classrooms, but with accommodations and supports, right? And our life skills classrooms have their own curriculum as well.
They do? Okay.
Yes.
And the other thing, just making sure we support each school evenly and making sure everything's there. Attendance, you know, today we had three principals here. One time we had 8, 9. Yeah. If students are in class, they're going to improve. They're going to improve their scores. So keep pushing attendance to all the administrators. I think that's very important. It'd be great to see 10 principals up here every month. So
Most definitely.
just continue to push attendance.
Good points, Coach Serna. Mr. Los Santos?
Yes, I just want to say that, like Coach Serna said, and Mrs. Staita and them, special ed, and all the other points here, and streamlining resources and focusing on all these different groups. That slide's up though, right? Yeah, so people can see it? Okay, so we're the staff, at least the executive. Okay, I look at things a little bit different. So now that we've had so many months and we have more data collected, and I know we're talking about the K through first.
Yes, sir.
We're seeing dramatic drops, you know, about 20 to 27%, right? Every single monthly and every single report.
Yes.
And that's not almost systemic because there's a few campuses though. My question is this, you have 2 campuses that don't have a 20 to 27% variation between kindergarten and first. I'm not going to name them, okay? Because they're what you would consider us at least on the scale lower than everyone else. But if you look at them, they're consistently about 5% or less every single report that you give. So it's not the scores that we want. They're not green. But how is it that their kinder and first is consecutively coming in only between 4 to 5% difference versus everyone else who's dropping 20+%. So even though we're looking at instruction and what's the difference between kinder and the testing, right? Because the testing is completely different between kinder and first anyways. and then the concepts that they're studying, right? So it's a system that modifies itself based on the student's level. So the higher the level, the more difficult questions. So there's a lot of different variables. But I wanted to know, have you looked at that? Those two campuses are consecutively, I mean, well, not consecutively, but repeatedly always coming in 4 to 5% difference between their kinder and first on your reports. Now that we have multiple months, I'd want to know,
Right.
why is that?
So one key difference,
Like how
right?
it's- how
Yeah,
is it?
so one key difference that we noticed between those campuses have been POC, right? TEAC study, right? So when you study the TEACs and you break down those concepts and internalize them with teachers, right?
Right.
Bring in teachers, they were called planning days, right? Doesn't matter what curriculum you're using, right? Teachers have internalized the standards, right? So it carries across, right? So that's one. Sometimes too, the other reason that it could be Mr. De Los Santos is depending on the score, how high the score is in kinder, then it moves over onto first grade. Usually campuses, sometimes that score very high, then have that dip in first.
Because
So we looked at that.
Yeah, because even last year, they
The
were
same.
they were in that scenario, right? And so, but now you're seeing that last year and
Yes.
that group and that cohort has moved on. Now they're over here this year getting tested.
Yes.
And then you're seeing, okay, so now we have two sets of data, and
Right.
we can see that they've been they've been, I'm looking for the word here, they have been consistent. Right?
Consistent.
That their kinder and first populations are scoring very
the
near
same.
each other versus everyone else where they're having massive drops from 28%, even
Yes.
last year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's kind of an anomaly, I guess.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of curious as to what's the, like for me, I'm gonna say
The key.
that data for me seems a little bit more valid. The validity of that data is higher, only just based on that the kids are
Me
learning
too.
at this level and continuing and carrying on to first, even though it's different content, but the learning level. So I'm just kind of curious as how
Right.
that.
And at the end of the year, once we collect the end of the year data, we'll be able to have that data across the years
Okay.
so that we can further study that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Los Santos. I had three questions, but Ms. Jackie asked one, and Mr. Castillo asked another one, but I'll ask a single one, I guess. In all the grade levels, which grade level is struggling the most, and what are we doing? Something consistent like Mr. Los Santos said. Which grade level do you see as struggling the most?
So our data indicates the first grade dip, right? Our data indicates that. And when we look at the jump just in language arts from kinder to first grade, it's tremendous. So the minute your kindergarten goes into first grade without reading, the child is probably behind.
Correct.
And it's going to be, struggling, right, to catch up. So if you have a kindergarten still at the phonological stage, it's going to be difficult for them to even be on track in first grade. And that is where you see the biggest dip, right? Again, kindergarten, basic, foundational literacy skills. First grade, we are going into the comprehension, deep dive into the reading.
And kindergarten isn't even required by the state,
Right.
correct? So
Up
I know
until the
I-
age of 6.
I have a couple of kids in my classroom that have not gone to school at all. They're in first grade and they don't even know letters or sounds. So I'm sure we have some of those situations.
And we said it before, like kinder first and second, realistically, if you can knock those out and really give good academic instruction, third, fourth, and fifth, and so on, is gonna really benefit from those,
Yes,
from
sir.
that. And another thing too, I forgot to mention, the first and second as well. So not only those two campuses, but you'll see the first and second grade data is more consistent
Right.
with each other.
Yes, sir.
So.
And
so
the
there's
test
something
is,
there
the
with
test
kinder
is
and first.
similar
Yeah.
in that grade band. Yes.
And question number 2, who is growing the most, and why is it that they're growing the most? And I think you'll mention what Mr. Los Santos mentioned. What grade level is doing the best?
Kinder, sir.
Kinder.
And again, we attribute it to the key differences in the testing as well.
Right.
All right.
Can I ask one more thing?
Yes, you may. Of course.
Somebody brought up about the ADA, right? About the principals,
yes.
and that's a tough one. But I remember a couple of months ago, we were having this discussion because I had questions about the policy and the attendance policy and how it was working. And after that meeting, I had a couple of parents reach out to me and they say, hey, you know what? And this is me as a parent asking a parent question. I know, for example, sometimes my kids in high school, right, they're out for events like sports or mariachi or whatever. And I still get calls on my phone saying, your child has been marked absent. And I say, wait a minute, but they were at school. Or things like that happen, or they get to school late. Some other parents in elementary, well, my kid's tardy, I'm guilty, but they get to school and I'm still getting that phone call saying that they're absent. So my question is, are we? I know this is more like of a management thing, but I'm asking as a parent, how can parents, other than logging into the portal and making sure, I honestly don't have time to log into the portal and look at the absences to see, did they take away my child's absence because they weren't really absent? How are we keeping tabs on the absences that shouldn't really be absences?
You know, some of the principals are here, and as a former principal at the beginning of a first period class, they receive an email from the data entry or whoever is in charge of putting those groups that are out on trips or whatever, whether it's track, whether it's mariachi, and the teachers have to have make that time to check, to make sure that if anybody is absent, if they're on their list, do not mark them absent. But that happens in every campus.
And is this people that are before, after cutoff or before cutoff? Do you know?
Well, it's 10:15, no, snapshot in the morning?
Yeah.
So it's after. Because in high school, they have different periods, so, in the afternoon, I'm getting a call like the next day, they were absent on this day. So that's why I was wondering, how are we keeping track? Because parents are not gonna call in and say, a lot of them, take the absence off because they were really there. So that's why I'm wondering, what can we do to fix this?
I think we can ask Ms. Morales, see what the process is there at Weslaco High School.
Just to say that, I know that when I was there, it was a never ending, and she would follow up with coaches continuously. I mean,
All the sponsors turn in their students list, our attendance clerks tag them, so the teacher, there's no way that the teacher can count them absent. We tag the school they give, the teacher cannot do that. And then both high schools, we have an attendance task force, and they call every single child that's absent personally. When the parent says, I send my kid, you can find them, then we go ask security.
Yeah.
They'll tell us like they added it last minute on JV varsity last night, they moved to baseball, they didn't make the list. We confirm, make the changes. And the students that are coming in late, second period specifically, they sign in a binder, and then we call the teachers to make sure the teachers do not mark them absent, instead just tardy.
I see. Yeah, I can imagine.
Remind the students also that they're like, check your attendance, check your
Yeah. So question, like in middle school, high school, when they have different periods in classes, let's say they're there in the morning for second, they're counted present, but then they get to fifth period and they left school for whatever reason, doctor's appointment, whatever. They're counted absent still?
Yes.
Okay, see, I don't understand that as a parent. I said, but wait, my kid was there at 10 o'clock. Okay. And middle school's the same thing, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's by period, not the time, not 10 o'clock, it's the period, okay. See, that's something that I don't even know as a parent, so it's good for parents to know that, thank you for clarifying that.
Is that for excused absences or absences in general?
No, periods in secondary.
Right.
Right.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Coach.
He has a question.
No, it's about excused and unexcused.
Absence is an absence regardless whether it's excused or unexcused. They're still allowed the opportunity to make a report if necessary, which is why they get the excuse.
And that's been the usual thing, but yeah, and I understand absence, but sometimes they obviously are excused, somebody gets in an injury or whatever.
That's something the principals can follow up on.
Yeah, I want
But they do offer also for hours.
Just clarifying that in middle school, again, we do have periods, right?
Yeah.
So the hours at 10:30, that's our fourth period class, that's the one that they need to be present, right? For
Fourth period.
But they might be absent maybe 8, 9, or 10th period, but those are only gonna be the ones that are shown, but he was present.
That was my question. So fourth period.
Unlike elementary, because they're all.
Right. See, that's what's confusing, I think for a lot of parents like me that have kids at every grade level, wait, but you're absent, but you're not. So I don't know, it's confusing to me.
So again, I think there's two parts. So we've looked at The 10:15 time is the official ADA time that we are going to claim as a district. Now, again, there's additional that goes on for secondary, for high school students, for example, that we've illustrated. But again, don't confuse the 10:15 time. Yes, that is what we are going to count for ADA. And then again, we have where periods will be taken for those that are
For
switching
credit
classes.
purposes.
Correct,
But
correct.
that's only high school, right?
That's correct.
That's not middle school, that's only high school.
Right, but they will still keep attendance for the afternoons for the middle schools and the high schools. Additionally, I know there was a question that came up. You had just said, I believe we responded in a board update roughly between the January 20th to 24th week. We had put about a longer update to answer the questions that we had had in that January meeting.
I did read it, but it was kind of the same conversation we had during the board meeting. And it didn't still explain to me what I saw. That's why I was like, well, maybe we can talk about it some more. We just hadn't had time, but we can talk about it later so you can explain
All right,
better.
no
Just a quick question too for the 9 through 12 campuses though, but we do offer, at a certain point, we do offer attendance recovery and credit recovery.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Just so parents know, right.
Yes.
And that's just, but that's only for promotion, that's not, just so, but to be clear,
Not
it's not
for
to take,
ADA.
yeah, it's not to take away the absence, but yeah.
For funding.
So you're losing credit.
All right. Any other questions?
No?
Thank you, Mrs. Solando, and of course, Mr. Buttermer, for the responses. All right, let's continue. Now we will continue to board self-evaluation. So what I had the opportunity to ask each board member to provide me with points for each category, and then I assigned each board member to find how we can improve to the master's level. You know, we talk about students getting to the master's level. Well, we as board members want to get to the master's level too. So for right now, we're going to begin with vision and goals. And vision and goals, one, the board has adopted student outcome goals. The rating from the majority of the board members is 13 out of 15. So Mrs. Jackie Sustaita, on this one, what are your comments on how we can continue or we can improve to the master's level?
Okay, so let me pull it up real quick, from the LSG manual, the vision and goals #1, because I thought I had it. Here, okay. I did not bring my binder with me, so I was going to look it up online.
Okay.
But for those people who say, what are they even talking about? This LSG participant manual, it is online. Just Google LSG and anybody can read it of what are we scoring ourselves on. So the vision and goals, it says the board has adopted student outcome goals, and I believe we were at 12 last time.
Correct.
And I think I said that we were going to stay at a 12 because master's is 15, and that's just what I thought. And it says here that all the board members and the superintendent have committed the vision and student outcome goals to memory. And I know, and I was looking up the vision a while ago. It's on our website also. And I just want to read it just to make sure that we all know what the vision is for Weslaco ISD. The board came up with it about maybe a year ago, I think is when we made our new vision statement. And it's there in the Lone Star Governance, and it's Weslaco ISD envisions a community of learners empowered with creativity, knowledge, and resilience, forging a brighter tomorrow through excellence in education and unwavering commitment to personal and communal growth. We don't know that by memory. Sounds like the Pledge of Allegiance almost, but no, we don't know it by memory, so I thought I don't think we can get 15 points yet until.
Correct.
So that was my input on that.
Thank you, Mr. Staita. For Vision and Goals 2, the board has adopted goal progress measures aligned to each student outcome goal. And Dr. Hyman will make comments on that one. Our score on that one was 13. Dr. Hyman.
So on this one, Coach Nieto, in regards to reaching the master's focus, says all board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the GPMs through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members. And I think that's something that I think some board members have done well with that, including yourself, Mr. Nieto. And I think that's where, the rest of us probably need to catch up on that with, making sure that there's broad community ownership with those, with that vision and goals #2. So in regards to that, I think, we still stay at meets focus with the same score that we had before.
All right, thank you. For vision and goals number 3, the board has adopted constraints. Coach Cuellar, and that one, we're at a 9.
Yeah. A 9 is meets focus, and we've had numerous workshops where we have put together these constraints, and tonight is a very good indicator of where we're all on the same vision to improve student performance and outcome. The only thing we need to do now to get the masters, which is right a point away, is to continue to be more involved with the community, staff, and students to make them understand what our vision is and what these constraints are, what the do's and don'ts, basically. That's what it amounts to. But I think tonight is a very good indicator of where we're going with this. And the majority of the time that we're spending is on student performance and outcome, because that is our primary purpose as board members. So,
Thank you, Coach Cuellar. We'll continue with vision and goals 4. The board has adopted superintendent constraint progress measures. This one I assigned to Mr. Castillo, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And we rated it a 4. So how can we get to a 5 there, Mr. Castillo?
Same thing what Coach Cuellar said. We need to work on the community outreach portion of this. As far as the constraints are concerned, and the presentations by administration to the board. That's all there. I think that's predictive of they're predictive of the constraint. They're influenceable by the superintendent. The only one that we really got to work on is the communication with the community, and I just don't know how to do that unless we go to al fresco, or we go to these award assemblies, maybe at these elementaries, and ask the principals to give us 5 minutes to kind of talk about this to the parents that are already there, the captive audience.
I think, there's a possibility, and of course with Dr. Rivera's guidance, at the beginning of the school, when parents when the administrative staff starts meeting with parents, that's a time that they can give us 5 minutes, and we can present part of our goals, LSG, and that would meet that community relationship and community ownership. Not all 7 can be there, but maybe 2 of us or 1 of us, and do elementary school or a couple of elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools.
I think that's a great idea. We could do it at that kind of point in time.
Or maybe like end of the year activities also that they're coming up and they're having a lot of, end of the year things, maybe we can plan on something in May.
And you know what? Good point there from Jackie, because last year, she was presenting at East.
You're
Remember
right.
to that class?
Right, we went together.
And
to
we
the
went
East.
together and we presented to the students. But
Yeah,
that was
I know
just-
when we could get them. We get them at the kindergarten graduation. That's what they want to see.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach Cuellar?
to interject into what's going on as far as communication, it doesn't have to be physical. We can use all the resources that we have around our school district with all the marquees and all the digital stuff that's up there. We've got a jumbotron that is used for multiple events. And something that I've heard before, if we would commit to education what we commit to athletic and fine art events, then we'd get there a lot closer. Because you better not be late to the football game.
Yes, sir.
But, get up and get to class so we can learn. It's something that we need to keep stressing, because my father once said, the best inheritance that you can leave your children is an education. And it doesn't guarantee you anything, but at least it gives you a chance to do something with yourself. So there we go.
And Coach, I can just interject real quick. He brings up a good point about it doesn't have to be physical. It can be, and I know that we use like the panorama survey at school, and I've read through a lot of those individual ones because we have access to the panorama surveys from the teachers and the staff. Or the parents can just sometimes do surveys on our website. Those are forms of communication where, it's not everybody's going to fill it out, but some people who do want to give you their opinions or ideas or concerns will do those types of surveys on the website. So maybe we can think of something where we can maybe, through the technology, can post some kind of survey or something for the parents to let us know what are your concerns, what are your...
Ms. Sustaita just volunteered that through K-West, she'll do the presentation where parents have the ability.
I'll sing.
No, but it's true. A lot of parents do watch K-West. So a presentation on LSG Not only you.
Well, we did it before too. Remember, we did a presentation.
Yes, we did.
Introduction.
Right, the
I think
video.
it was good.
And we can do something like that.
That'll,
Yeah, but
Carlos?
getting their feedback is what's important, instead of them just watching us, tell me what it is, so
Yeah.
some kind of communication
Yes.
with them.
Okay. All right. Miss,
If I may.
Okay.
Everybody else's goals.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. On the mission, I think what I see other districts do is, along with the Pledge of Allegiance, they say the mission, the school district's mission. And
Oh,
that's
yes.
that's kind of a way to memorize it as
Yeah.
well. We have to say it
Yeah.
every board meeting.
Okay. The next one, the board invests at least half of its time to improving student outcomes. Coach Serna, how can we go from 25% or more of the total quarterly minutes for public meetings to 50%?
Well, how can we go to that? Well, we're trying to get the master's focus, and I think tonight was a good indication of this team of 8 having a conversation with our administration and discussing the goals and as was presented. So we set clear goals. We as a team of 8, we support our schools with resources, not only with capital resources, but also human resources. So all of these things are gonna go a long way in attaining that goal. And not only once we attain those goals, review and evaluate. And as a group, and like we did today, have those conversations to help move this process along. So, and we can make good progress. And I think, as we all know, our focus is always going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work together to improve student achievements. As Coach Cuevas said, that's very important.
All right. Thank you, Coach Serna. Now we'll continue with the board evaluates but does not interfere with progress towards improving student outcomes. Mr. De Los Santos, here I have us on a score of a 4.
Yes. Yeah, looking at this category, just so that the public can understand, look at this category, there's some requirements there going from 0 through 5. There's 5 different levels. And so we've been doing the majority of them as far as using the LSG integrity instrument, quarterly progress tracking, all the monitoring reports that you see happening every single time, every single board meeting. I'd like to say that our school district, as when I came on board in 2020, it was always academically oriented. The focus was oriented on academics, and there was always a strong presence there. There was already a very strong infrastructure in place as well. This LSG tool, when it came into play, just fine-tuned everything and kept everybody on track, so it's a great system. In this category, we don't have very much to hit a master's focus, okay, because we've been doing the quarterly tracker, progress tracker, the goals, the GPMs, the CPMs. The only thing I think here that we need to do this year, which we probably are going to do, is the master's focus. So to get the master's focus, you have to do a superintendent evaluation based solely on student outcome goals, okay? And that's the whole purpose of the LSG system as well. So just so people understand, why are you taking the system into place? Well, what it does, it aligns you as a board to evaluate the superintendent based on student outcomes, okay? And you may say, well, that should be what everybody does, but that isn't what everybody does, okay? There are sometimes other districts evaluate superintendents based on other issues, whatever it may be. I'm not going to go into detail on that. But this system here aligns you to focus on what's important, which is academic outcomes of students. And so when Dr. Rivera, he has those parameters in place, right, those restraints, when he gets evaluated this year, it'll be solely based on those scores, and so that's what the purpose of this is. So I think this year, we have enough data now, and then that's what we're going to do. And once we do that, we'll be a master's focus for this section.
Thank you, Mr. Los Santos.
Just to add, it not only is it student outcome goals, but it's also the superintendent constraints. Right. And I think Dr. Rivera has been doing a great job on the superintendent constraints. He has 5 of them. And one of them is not allow our schools to be unsafe, which he's been doing a great job. Low-performing campuses to have inequitable access to resources. I know he works on that also. A low level of campus culture and climate. That's why we're doing the panorama survey and addressing those needs. Financial health of the district, which we know he's doing great with. And the adult community convenience, preference, or private interest to take priority over academic progress of our students. And he's always focusing on the kids. So not only student goals, but the constraints. So that, I think we've been doing good with that, Dr. Rivera.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Staita.
Quick question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys working on the instrument for the superintendent evaluation?
I'm working on that.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Okay. All right, here we go. The next one will continue with system and processes. The board operates in a way that allows the superintendent to accomplish the vision. And in getting feedback from the other board members, I have it rated as a 15. It could be a 14, but I think it's a 15, and let me tell you why. Our board meetings have been an average of 3 meetings per month, yes. An average of 2 hours per meeting, about. An average of 3 other topics per meeting, yes. Board members have received the final materials to be voted on at least 7 days before the public meeting, which we have. No edits to the board's regular scheduled meeting prior to 3 days, yes, we have. And that's the reason why I rated it a 15. It could be a 14, but I think we're already at the mastery level on that one. The next one will continue, advocacy and engagement. The board promotes the mission. That one, I have it as a 9. And the reason that we're not there yet, and I talked to Dr. Rivera alongside with Dr. Jaime and Mr. Cuellar, that I asked them that within the next month or so, we will form a student committee from the district, so that way us as board members can meet with them, and we'll meet that criteria for mastery's level. I'll begin it this year, and I explained it to Dr. Rivera, and he'll explain it to the principals, and then the principals and the counselors or administrative staff from each campus will select the students to be part of that committee. And that committee will be take place, or that meeting will take place in May, after testing and so forth. We'll ask the principals what day, and just for about an hour. It's not going to be long. And just to begin the process of forming a committee for next year, okay? And Dr. Rivera will provide more information for the principals. Okay? And the second part is newly selected board members have received an orientation on Lone Star governance by fellow board members or an LSG coach, and we have. So we're okay there. The final one, the board works together and with the superintendent to lead towards the vision. I have, according to the board, we have it rated at 9, and Mrs. Jackson Staita will make comments on this one.
So this one says the board works collaboratively with the superintendent. You were at 9, and in order to get 10, we have to meet these criteria, which is all board members have completed the Lone Star Governance Workshop, which I believe we all have. I'm not sure.
Almost.
Oh, Mr. Serna hasn't because he's a new trustee.
Right.
Okay, so we lose it right there. So, I mean, I'll just stop right there because we're not going to get it after that.
Okay. All right. And so in receiving the points from each board member, I have us rated at 89. So you'll sign today on what we have, and hopefully by next year, the beginning of the year, we should be a little higher in the mastery level. Any other comments?
When can Coach get trained on this workshop?
Oh, I know.
So we have one coming up, no?
There's one coming up, no?
The official, like, 2-day one? I think
Oh, no,
what
we-
happened when we took good coaches, like Donna ISD and other board members came here that hadn't done it with their district. So if anybody else around the valley is doing their initial one, you can join them.
Region 1 does it, no?
I don't
think
know,
so.
I don't think so. No.
No, I think it has to be a board.
Yeah,
It has
like,
to be a board
because
thing.
we are the ones who get the coach to come to us, you know,
Oh,
so.
okay.
It's not a Region 1 thing.
All right. So, board members, so thank you for your feedback. We'll continue to 8C, discussion of possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the Lone Star Governance Board Monitoring Report for March 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Castillo, second by Mr. Los Santos to approve the LSG government monitoring. As I pass it around and you'll sign for it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll continue now with consent agenda. I'll give you a minute or two because you should have read it already since Thursday. We've had it. So any particular items, but I'll ask you in a minute. You got it? All right, thank you. All right, any items that we need to pull for discussion? I'll begin with Mrs. Sustaita.
No.
None? All right, thank you. Dr. Jaime?
I have none, Coach.
Coach Cuellar?
None?
Mr. Castillo?
None. I got shot down. I felt like my dad told me.
All right, Mr. Cerda?
No.
And Mr. Los Santos?
No, sir.
And I have none. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second?
We have a motion by Mr. Los Santos and second by Coach Cuellar to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's continue to 10A. Update on trainings, conferences, events, and consider future agenda items requested by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Rivera?
Yes, on Monday, March 24th, there's a Regional 1 training. And then Monday, March 31st, the LSG training.
Correct.
Ms. Yvette will let the board know through an email or text.
Okay. No motion needed on this, so we'll continue. Unless anybody has a comment? All right. Discussion of possible action items, 11A. Discussion of possible action for the Board of Trustees to cast their vote in the 2025 election for the Board of Directors of the Region 1 Education Service Center.
Yes, you have the ballot?
Do you have the ballot right there? Board members, so you can place your vote for whoever you select. Want to vote on it? Okay. All right, everybody submitted their ballot? Number 12, closed meeting. 12A1, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation of contracts for certified personnel, professional and non-contractual personnel. 12A2, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified personnel and non-contractual personnel. 12A3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. 12B, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation, settlement offer, or 12B3, matter in which the duty of the attorney of the Weslaco Independent School District under Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551.071. And 12B4, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with legal counsel regarding cause number C402621A, Melva Segura versus Weslaco ISD in the 92nd Judicial Court of Hidalgo County. And 12B5, discussion of legal services. It is 8:02, and we will be going to executive session. All right, it is 9:04 and reconvene in open meeting. 13A, possible action necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. 13B, discussion of possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation of contracts for certified personnel and not contractual personnel. Dr. Rivera.
Recommend approval?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Coach Cuellar, second by Mr. Ben Castillo, to approve the superintendent's recommendation. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 13C, discussion of possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Dr. Rivera.
Recommend approval?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Coach Cuellar and a second by Mr. Castillo.
No.
Oh.
Mr. De Los Santos.
Oh, Mr. Los Santos, to approve superintendent's recommendation on resignations and retirements. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. 13D, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding cost number C 402621A, Melva Segura versus Weslaco ISD in the 92nd Judicial Court of County of Texas. Dr. Rivera, or Mr. Castillo.
Yes, yes, Mr. Board President, members of the board. In the back, our lawyers presented to us some options, but at this time, I make a motion that we take no action on this item.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Castillo, second by Mr. De Los Santos. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And the last one that we also had over there, which is just discussion of legal services.
No, sir.
It's no action. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. It is 9:06 and we finish with this board meeting.